Love between humans is just not easy. And without great examples or education about emotions, communication, sex, and what keeps love alive, it's too easy to be disheartened, settle, or give up on what you want most. I believe you can have the love and intimacy you want. And having coached thousands of people on their love lives for over 20 years, I know what love can be for you. So I'm bringing you people who share vulnerably about their dating and relationship struggles and how they learn to create the most connected, fulfilling, and exciting love and sex of their lives, so you can have it too. If you haven't yet taken the quiz to see what keeps you from having the best love and sex of your life, go to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz. You'll get a personalized report of your strengths and challenges in the 5 crucial areas that lead to your most fulfilling and exciting love and sex life. Go to shanajamescoaching.com/quiz to find out. Hello and welcome to this episode of Practicing Love. I'm your host, Shana James, and I am thrilled to be here today to talk to a man who's been in a 44-year marriage that is going strong and deepening and beautifully connected. It's so rare. We were just talking about this being kind of a unicorn type of relationship, and that anybody can stay together for the long term, but to really stay together for the long term and be growing individually and together, and to have love deepen and continue to deepen for as long as you're alive is a sacred and rare thing. So Geoff Laughton is a relationship coach and a men's coach. He's been doing this for decades. And Geoff, welcome, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah. So part of what we want to talk about today is your book, Building a Conflict-Proof Relationship. And I'd also love to hear some stories about your relationship and how you keep it alive. I think that's the one question when I meet someone who's been in a long-term relationship and it's going well still and it's deepening and the love is strong. I'm like, okay, what's your secret? How do you do it? So I'd love to hear some of your secrets. Can you tell us a little bit of a background of how you became a relationship coach, men's coach?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, like a lot of coaches, I imagine we both know, I had a corporate life once upon a time and was in that world for 15 years. And in the course of that, met my wife, and I got pretty burned out in that career, and I wasn't mentally healthy. I wasn't physically healthy. I wasn't emotionally healthy at all. And that saying where sometimes spirit will whisper and then it'll tap you on the shoulder and
bludgeons you over the head.
Yeah. And so I totally got the 2x4 when I was in my mid-30s. At that point, a lot of how I coped with what corporate life was doing to me was eating. So I got up to near 300 pounds. And so my body broke down and I was bedridden for a month. And that got me to thinking, might be good to change a few things here. And so I lost 100 and some odd pounds over a year. And then it never occurred to me to change anything else.
Wow. Just the body, the physical.
Yeah, I could get myself looking fabulous and not pay any attention to any of the other mental, emotional stresses, whatnot, including becoming a parent at that time. And so I basically had a bunch of anxiety attacks, and that got me finally into therapy. And this was the early 90s, so it was a great heyday of all kinds of personal growth work available.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could get my hands on. And that really reawakened me to a lifelong love I'd had for listening to people and being blessed with a pretty sharp level of intuition, where I was a kid and I'd listen to grown-ups talk and I would ask questions, or in hindsight, I really began coaching when I was about 7.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten a degree in psychology and wanted to be a therapist.
Amazing.
But took a year off to make some money, and that lasted 44 years with that detour, all told. So I started out as a life coach, and then I had a client who asked me to work with her parents.
Mm-hmm.
And they came and spent 4 days with me to work on their then 34-year-long marriage.
Wow.
Completely turned it around.
Wow.
And I just thought, wow, this is really fun. And I had my own relationship that I already knew even back then was not ordinary in any way. And so referrals began happening to other couples, and the rest is history.
Can you tell us a little bit about like what happened in those 4 days? If we dive into the heart of the matter, what happened in those 4 days for that couple that really changed things for them?
Well, one thing, the one partner had cheated on his wife, had been unfaithful several times.
Yeah.
And that was part of the baggage that got brought into the intensive. And so what I really was guided to do with them was first to see if there was any shared vision of what a marriage that could be repaired, if not completely reinvented, could look like. And there was enough of a shared vision for that then we had to go in and do the heavy lifting and digging into what created all the breakdowns.
Yes.
And my experience, and given that you've been in this line of work for a while too, infidelities rarely happen in a vacuum.
Yes.
So another huge part was really supporting them in each looking at their responsibility for everything that wasn't working.
Yes.
And their responsibility for everything that was.
Yeah.
So we did some amazing work on forgiveness, particularly her needing to forgive him.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned about that is whether you're a woman who's been cheated on or a man who's been cheated on, real forgiveness doesn't happen unless the cheater can really fully get the full impact of their actions on their partner.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just go, oh, I did a bad thing, I'm sorry.
No.
That doesn't work. So it was about a whole day to get this guy, who at that time was in his mid-60s, I think, for him to really get the devastation that his choices wreaked on her and his children.
Yeah.
What it did to his family. So once he got that and was able to help her get that he got it, then that opened up a whole new possibility. And so we designed together new behaviors, fixing communication problems that they didn't even know they had.
Yeah.
Setting up a bunch of new agreements, things like that. So it was getting them back into their heart and also getting them back to what brought them together in the first place.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I would say it was helping them see that no matter how long you've been together, and this is part of what's led to my wife and I having the kind of relationship we do, is you don't really ever get to rest on your laurels for very long, if at all.
No.
Like there's no friggin' nirvana that you hit and then you just wait.
And then you have to do, you just coast, right? No more work, no more understanding
Just
each
wait
other.
until one of you drops and, peace out. It was great. It doesn't work that way.
No, it reminds me of one of the things you wrote in your conflict-proof relationship book around communication and misunderstandings that people have around communication, and that, something isn't really understood until the other person tells you that you understand them. right? I think that's a huge part of communication that many people never learn.
Right. And in my experience, that is particularly an issue with a lot of men. They listen to their partners share what's hurting, what isn't working, what's upsetting.
Yeah.
And they think that nodding and, okay, I heard you, and again, maybe having a perfunctory apology that happens before they get to any empathy to get over there with her.
Yeah.
To like really get the impact. And so when I was taught that by one of my, you haven't heard your woman until she tells you you've heard her.
Yeah.
Total game changer. So I like that you like that one too. It's a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, I see so many people, being in relationships where we think we're talking about the same thing. Or many of my couples clients, it's like, oh, one person says something, the other person says something. It seems like they're having the same conversation. They're using the same words. But when we really go deeper into what's actually going on here that's creating some kind of rift, there isn't the same use of language, or there's the emotional tone versus the intellectual content, and one person's in one place, one person's in the other place. So it seems like it would be so simple or obvious in some way to get on the same page, but it is just not.
No, and I think one of the reasons why that can be so difficult is another thing I mentioned in the book. One of my favorite acronyms that are kind of two sides of the same hand is making shit up, MSU, and made up shit, MUS. And I still to this day will get humbled myself when I go unconscious about how much I'm making up about any number of things, not just what my wife might be thinking or wanting or needing, but about anything,
You're saying like this is a human trait that we do.
Oh yeah, it's a human egoic. It's the ego. The ego is making stuff up all day long.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that in general, and if you don't know what it's making up, then you're just operating, on the made up stuff as if that's actually the truth.
Yeah.
So you got to get that one figured out. But the other thing too, that I still get kind of shocked by from time to time is how many people, just unconsciously, I don't think it's deliberate or malevolent in any way, they actually think that their partner thinks the same way they do. Well, you know me. You should be able to read my mind. Right. And we love each other, so that must mean that we think alike.
We think the same way.
And then you bring differences in between males and females. I'll often tell couples that I work with, part of my role is to be a translator.
That's what I do too. It really, it's necessary, I think, for those of us who've grown up, and especially in heterosexual relationships where we haven't gotten to see behind the curtain of how others think, of different genders and how the brain works and how the emotions work. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And that's another element too that is so crucial for a successful relationship is if you don't have at least a cursory knowledge of how the brain works and how the mind works and the difference between ego identity versus self with a capital S.
Yeah.
Our essence, who we were before we got trained out of it growing up. If you don't know how to distinguish between those things, then it gets so easy to get caught in innumerable weeds and rabbit holes. And I think that's why a lot of couples, when things really blow up and escalate, if they can take a breather, they're kind of left wondering, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. What are we actually even fighting about? I mean, this
Right.
leads into the conflict proof relationship. And first, before we dive a little more into that, what do you mean by a conflict proof relationship?
Over the first few years that I was working with couples, it was very common that they would come in with a belief that conflict meant the relationship was wrong, bad, that conflict itself was innately bad.
Yeah.
And, and like I grew up, we were talking before we started recording, both of our parents, yours and mine, were in long-term relationships that they were miserable in.
Yeah.
And for me, I grew up, my parents' relationship was very high conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, horrible. And so I grew up to be a young man who believed that if I was going to have a good relationship, we shouldn't fight.
Right.
I need to, really work hard to never cause my wife to be upset with me, or vice versa. And it just doesn't work that way.
No, you can't just do the opposite.
No. And so I would hear people go, well, I'd really like to have a conflict-free relationship. And what I know and what I believe and really created the title was a relationship with no conflict is ultimately doomed. You may stay together all your life, but it's not going to be fulfilling. It's not going to be healthy.
No.
So that was when I thought of, well, how do you make it conflict proof? And how can I teach people to have healthy conflict, conscious conflict, and orient them to the fact that conflict is a growth opportunity, not a death sentence.
I like that.
But you have to know how to do it well. If you don't know how to do it well, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's where things get messy. And being a parent, it always, when our kids were growing up, I never lost track of the fact that parents have a responsibility to give their kids the best shot possible at growing up to be healthy, functional adults.
Yeah.
And the real world has conflict, right? So how do you do that in a healthy way? And that's what led to me wanting to put it that way.
I love that. And it's just reminding me, let me see if I can find a spot. Yeah, I mean, what you were just saying about the difference, right, between our capital S self essence versus the ego and our identity or personality, that a key to becoming a conflict ninja or sensei, you wrote, is to get committed to being fiercely and unrelentingly committed to consistent self-awareness and presence, right? So when you blame your partner, and when you think it's their fault, you're not actually recognizing the mirror that someone's giving you and the fact that it is internal what's happening for you. Can you talk more about that? Because I think that's a huge one that couples I know get stuck with.
Yeah, it reminds me of someone, a mentor of mine, teacher decades ago, said to me, has it ever occurred to you that when you point the finger at somebody, there's three of them pointing right back at you, you doofus? And, which at the time was actually kind of an eye-opener. Oh, okay. And in all of the work I did on myself in the early 90s, that was one of the key things that I had the hardest time with, but also was the most liberating, is that I am 100% responsibility. Pardon me. I'm 100% responsible for my choices, my actions, and my behavior.
Yeah.
I don't care if my wife was in my face, spitting in my face, calling me names. I'm still 100% responsible for how I'm either going to react or I'm going to respond.
Yep.
And that's the thing that I find is hard for a lot of couples that I work with to really grasp is, but I want to blame them. It's so much easier if it's all their fault. And
yeah, or can't you see that it's the fault of that person? If they would only do this or they didn't do this, then I wouldn't feel this way or I wouldn't think this way.
Yeah, exactly. And that was an enormous game changer for me with every relationship that matters to me, not just my marriage, but my best friends, clients, everybody, that whatever I'm experiencing, if I'm feeling conflict, if I'm getting emotionally upset, the first thing I need to do, and this is what I coach all my couples to do, is even if you have to go, okay, time out, I'm going to deal with my emotional dysregulation first. Because you're not going to be heard if you're just going to trigger your partner into a total primal childhood traumatically informed place if you're just in their face losing your shit.
Yes.
So I learned, thanks to really great teachers, I got to figure out what's mine. Then I can communicate what's mine, and I can communicate what isn't working about how my partner's showing up, not as you, but this is my experience. This is what it's bringing up for me. These are the feelings it brings up. And here's what my mind is making up about why you're doing that and what the hell you're up to. And when you can communicate like that and take that level of ownership, then it creates room for you to reconnect as allies in a team.
Yes.
Whereas playing the victim card or the blame game, all that does is make sure that you stay adversarial, and then you lose the heart connection, and then it just will go down the drain into more and more unneeded ugliness.
Yeah. Yeah. And so painful. I mean, I often, when I'm working with clients who are in relationships where there's conflict, right, I say to them, you never really know who your partner is in that deepest, truest essence until you are actually taking that responsibility and communicating in a conscious and mature way. And it doesn't mean that if you do that, everything will be amazing and that you will stay together. But if you don't do that, you never know for sure what was possible. Because if we're yelling, attacking, blaming, shaming, people show up much differently than if we're lovingly, maturely communicating, like you said, as a team.
Yeah. And I think another thing that can't be underemphasized or overemphasized rather is the fact you just used a really important word, mature.
Yeah.
And when we get triggered, we go young.
Yes.
And for years and years, I led workshops helping people learn how to work with inner child was the term back in the 90s. Now it's IFS, which I'm a huge fan of, internal family systems.
I love that.
If you don't know what's still unresolved in you from your past, it comes when we get triggered, then you're either going to go into that victim place or you're going to go into, now I have to protect myself.
Right.
And we're not mature. We're not in our adult self. So that is another really important point. that to me, any great relationship coach, relationship therapist also teaches each partner how to recognize, own, and help manage those young parts that we all have, all of us, without exception.
Yeah.
We all have them.
Yeah.
And man, when they're running the argument, then all hell breaks loose.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
What I see so often is that there's no concept of I'm in my young parts. It's just, this is who I am. And I can hear my mom saying he's never going to change. And I can hear him saying, why does she treat me like this? And it just goes around and around and around. Neither one of them really looking at their own part in that dynamic.
Yeah. And that makes me think of another part of this that's important and ties into you mentioning earlier, like what are some of the secrets that have helped my marriage work.
Yeah.
And I don't think any couple has to have identical values. You certainly need to have a level of common values for glue. But one of the things that I can honestly say has been a blessing for Sarah and I, that's my wife, is because of all that work that we did a lot of it together back in the 90s. And it's been a core value, a core relationship value and a life value that growth always be attended to.
Yeah.
And so, I learned many years ago that, there's three kind of main types of relationships that people may orient towards. Yeah. One is a careful one, which is conflict avoidant, walk on eggshells. The other could be carefree. Let's just have a great time. We love each other. We like to have sex. We're good. Let's just keep it light. Or the third one is a caring relationship where one of the core foundational principles is the relationship is a vehicle for growth.
I love that.
Spiritual growth, mental growth, emotional growth.
Yep.
All of it. And so that was another reason I wrote that book, is because the people that freak out or end up unnecessarily breaking up because they don't know how to do conflict, a lot of it is because of what I mentioned earlier, that people look at conflict as a bad thing.
Right.
It isn't. It's a growth catalyst.
Yes.
If you think about it that way.
Yeah. Right. If you don't think about it that way, it's a death sentence, and it's what's wrong with me and my partner, and this isn't working. I love when I shifted my orientation to relationship being a path of growth, whether it's spiritual, emotional, relational. It changes everything, because then instead of asking why is this happening from that place of something's wrong here, it's like, oh, what am I learning? How am I growing? How am I learning to love better? How am I learning to receive all of these things? It so shifts the what can happen, and the pain versus there's something that's productive here.
Yeah. And another thing that just came to me that I want to make sure we squeeze in, that's another element of what I think has helped my marriage, which has been far from perfect. I mean, we've been through many, many, many hard things. The one thing when I look back on how do you pull this off over decades is to realize that what you felt like as a couple when you first became a couple.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I heard somebody say not long ago, we all get into our relationships drunk.
It's Totally.
We're drunk on hormones and biochemistry, that whole limerence phase of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the couples I work with have been together at least 10 years, often more.
Often more.
And I hear some variation of, why isn't it the way it used to be? We want to get back to that.
Yeah.
And my contention is, no, you don't.
Mm-mm.
Because that's an invitation to live a memory which is inherently non-existent and a ghost.
Yes.
And what I think has helped Sarah and I go through we're 11 years apart. She's 11 years older than I am. So for me, it's been my 20s up through my late 60s. And for her mid 30s to late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, I think we've done an amazing job of trying to stay current, always staying curious. I mean, it's easy for somebody after even a decade. Oh, I know my partner.
I know my partner, right? I know them, and they can't surprise me.
I love that I get surprised.
Yeah.
There are new things to discover about Sarah and vice versa, because we're discovering them as we age.
Right. Which I think is such an important part again, right? If you're not growing and discovering new parts about yourself, it could become that kind of stagnancy where I already know everything about you. I mean, right. I believe what you're saying too is like you never know somebody completely, and there's always more to learn. But especially when you're in a growth-oriented relationship where you're continuing to become a vaster, deeper, more alive human.
Right. Right. And if you lose that curiosity, not just for your partner, but for yourself, then in my experience, that just gives, because the ego loves hanging on to what it knows.
Yeah.
Even if it's dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I can do this in my sleep. Awesome. No, I'm still discovering things about me pretty much on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I hope I never lose that while I'm still living. And couples that can maintain that love of learning and discovery and, having the fortitude, because sometimes it takes fortitude to face the uglies.
Yeah.
That we all have in ourselves. You got all that, you've got a great shot at a really, really rich, long time relationship.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for, everything that you've done to keep your relationship alive and then be able to bring that back to us and to your clients.
Yeah. Thank you.
So any last thing that you want to say for this episode? We can do this again, but that would feel like I'm missing if you didn't share it.
Yeah. I think anybody who might be watching who grew up like I did in kind of what I semi-jokingly refer to as the Hallmark indoctrination, or Jerry Maguire, dating myself here. But the thing that I tell every couple when I start working with them is love is not enough to make a relationship work.
Yes.
If you go with the poker game metaphor, it's the ante.
Yeah.
If you don't have the love, well, then you've got nothing to build off of.
Yes.
But it isn't in and of itself enough.
Mm-mm.
So I want people, even though it can kind of come off as a bit of a buzzkill, if you can remember that and realize that love is a part of the foundation, that if you can return to, even if it's pretty bruised and beat up, when you can get back to that and then learn how to work all the other elements that make a relationship work well, like compatibility, as an example, then again, you've got a great shot, but don't buy into the Hallmark Channel
No.
baloney that people think it represents real life relationship. It doesn't.
No. No, that I remember how freeing it was for me when I finally realized, oh, I can love someone, I can be attracted to someone, and we can have a great time or we can go very deep or right, but that isn't a sign that a partnership is going to work together, right? After my divorce, I saw that love, lust, and partnership were these three separate tracks.
Yeah.
And that if someone had told me that, I may not have married my ex-husband, which then I wouldn't have my kid and all the things and no regrets. But yeah, I wish I had had some more information about choosing a relationship and letting myself open my heart and love in many different forms without the conclusion of this is the only choice, right? Or this is the only box this relationship can fit into.
Yeah, and I've learned over the years too, which just makes me appreciate my relationship all the more. Not every couple is meant to be together for their whole life.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it's very non-Hollywood, but I've really seen there are just relationships that have a natural life cycle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you've hit yours and you have children, like Shayna and I both do, I believe we owe it to our kids to be able to keep it real.
Yeah.
And if a relationship has gone through its expiration date, how do we create a new one that isn't married or committed romantic partners, but are co-parents?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's totally doable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. When my ex and I separated, it took us some time, but we call ourselves a family still.
Mm-hmm.
My partner and my ex-husband have dinner together so that they can clear whatever they need to clear, and I'm getting to
Right.
know his new relationship, and it's a powerful thing to bring all these tools to whatever form of relationship you have.
Yep, I agree.
Well, thank you so much for this powerful conversation. And where can people
My
find
pleasure.
more of you?
Thank you again for the opportunity. You can find me at www.yourrelationshiparchitect.com. And if you're a man at all curious about what I also bring of all this stuff that Shane and I have been talking about to supporting men, which I've been doing for 25 years, go to theundauntedman.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again. And I look forward to more.
Great. Thank you, Shayna.
I'm so glad you joined us for today's episode of Practicing Love. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and gained insight into yourself and your current and past relationships and inspiration for what's possible. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful for you to subscribe and write a quick review to help people find us. If you'd like more support in your love life, be sure to get your free copy of my best-selling book, Honest Sex, at shanajamescoaching.com/free. That's shanajamescoaching.com/free. And we'll see you next time.